Think you've seen it all? Then get ready, because what comes next defies even logic. There are animals out there so bizarre that they seem to have come from another planet, but they didn't. They're here, living among us and hiding curiosities that would make any alien seem basic. There are animals that die and come back to life, others that hunt with a sixth sense, and even those that glow in the dark. While most people only know the obvious, you're about to enter a deeper level of knowledge, a level that few have access to. It's not just entertainment, it's an expansion of consciousness. And if you stick around until the end, you'll understand why nature is still the greatest mystery there is. Imagine living in a world where being discreet is a matter of survival. Well, that's exactly what the flounder does. It's practically a ninja master of the deep sea. With its body as flat as a sheet of paper forgotten in your pocket, it blends into the marine environment as if it were part of the landscape. It's as if it were playing hide and seek with predators, and it almost always wins. This camouflage ability is so efficient that many divers pass by without even noticing its presence. Curiosities like this show how strategic nature is. Now, what's really intriguing about this fish is its transformation throughout life. It's born with its eyes positioned in a normal way, one on each side of its head, like any other fish. But as it grows, one of its eyes slowly migrates to the top, joining the other. That's right, the two eyes are stacked. It sounds like something out of science fiction, but it's pure biology in action. This bizarre detail allows it to observe everything around it, even when buried in the sand. Among so many interesting facts about marine life, this is one that almost no one talks about. And don't think that this fish is only used for defense. When it wants to attack, it is as agile as a cat. It uses its pectoral fin as if it were a catapult. It launches itself at its prey with a precise and calculated movement. It is an example of how nature combines form, function, and purpose. You can even draw an analogy with life. Sometimes, it is through silence and strategy that we achieve the best results. It is no wonder that the most skilled strategists always study their movements before acting. The flounder is a reminder that, often, the most powerful is the one that no one sees coming. Knowing how to camouflage yourself, understanding the environment, and only then acting, these are lessons that we can take to our personal, professional, and even emotional lives. Have you ever thought about everything you can achieve if you stop for a moment, observe more, and act at the right time? Now, if this fish has already surprised you, just wait until you meet the one that is capable of recovering from a near death. Yes, that's right. Now, pay attention. There is a frog that literally dies and then comes back to life. The Pee-Pah frog is practically the zombie of the animal kingdom, and no, that's not an exaggeration. During hibernation, which is like an intense hibernation, it buries itself and enters a state so deep that it seems lifeless. But when the rain returns, it awakens as if nothing had happened, ready to sing, mate, and start the cycle all over again. These curiosities of nature are so surreal that they almost seem like a horror movie script. But it's pure science. The most curious thing is that this frog is not content with just resurrecting. It makes a point of making it clear that it's back. Its song is described by experts as something bizarre, with a sound that gives goosebumps even to those who have heard it all in the jungle. And there's more. This song serves as an announcement of romantic availability in the amphibian kingdom. In other words, it sleeps for months, wakes up during a storm, and goes straight to romance. If that's not emotional resilience, I don't know what is. In fact, this natural strategy teaches us a lot about the right time to act. It's not always the time to expose yourself. You know that feeling of needing to stop, retreat, and then come back with everything? This frog lives it to the letter. And here's a tip. Sometimes, you also need to go into an emotional fog. Take a break, reorganize your mind and heart, and only then emerge with full force. It's like rebooting. Want a practical example? Take a weekend to completely disconnect from the internet and social media. Read a book like The Power of Now or Essentialism. You'll see how much this internal dive can transform. If the zombie frog has already put on a show of reappearing, wait until you meet the one that punches so fast that it boils the water around it. It sounds crazy, but it's true, and it's full of curiosities that will surprise you. Some people brag about how powerful they are, but no human can compare, or rather, compare, to the mantis shrimp. This crustacean, which looks like a fighting anime character, has the fastest and most powerful punch in the animal kingdom. When it punches, the speed is so absurd that it is equivalent to a shot from a .22 caliber gun. That's right, you read that right. We are talking about an animal that breaks the glass of an aquarium with a single kick. Curiosities like this seem unreal until you see it with your own eyes. But it doesn't stop there. The mantis shrimp's eyes are almost a technological aberration of nature. They have 12 color cones. We, mere mortals, have 3. This means that it sees a spectrum so wide that it includes ultraviolet and infrared. In practice, it sees what our eyes can't even dream of capturing. If this doesn't make you rethink the way you perceive the world, maybe you need to adjust your internal visor. In fact, this enhanced vision is a great example of how seeing beyond the obvious can be the key to making smarter decisions in any area of life. Now, get this. The impact of the shrimp's attack is so intense that the surrounding water literally boils. It's pure science. The movement is so fast that it creates bubbles of extreme heat, a phenomenon called cavitation. The creature can attack so fast that it generates heat and light in the process. Can you imagine this happening right there, deep underwater? If underwater fighting existed, this shrimp would be the undefeated champion. And yes, it uses this ability to hunt and defend itself, always with surgical precision. Want a practical application of all this? Developing your own ability to impact at the right moment. Whether in your professional life or in relationships, it's essential to know when to act with full force. Well-applied strategies, such as those for negotiation or persuasion, are like the shrimp's punch. Fast, precise, and transformative. Curiosities like this show how timing can be everything. Now, if you think that's out of this world, wait until you meet someone who can glide through the air like a green ninja. If you thought frogs were just those cute little creatures jumping from one side to the other, prepare to be amazed. The Malabar gliding frog is, without exaggeration, one of the most impressive creatures that nature has ever created. It has the ability to glide for long distances, up to 115 times its body length. Just imagine, a small amphibian floating through the air like a superhero. It's no wonder that its ability enchants biologists and curious people around the world. And as if that weren't enough, it also protects its eggs, laying them in a foam that works as a safe and resistant nest. In addition to its ability to fly, the gliding frog has something in its song that is as unusual as its aerial acrobatics. It emits a peculiar sound, described as similar to that of the famous Predator. That's right, that threatening sound from the movies. It's a song that works as a warning signal and also as part of its dance to attract a mate. In a world where communication and adaptation are essential, this frog is a living example of how the environment shapes the methods of interaction. Who would have thought that something so harmless could be so engaging, right? But let's talk about adaptation and technique. The gliding frog teaches us that, despite our challenges and limitations, it is possible to fly if we have the right technique and timing. The leap he makes to launch himself against the wind is not random. Each movement is calculated and he uses the best he has, his adapted legs, his natural abilities. This is something we can all learn, no matter how difficult the path seems. When you prepare yourself, know your strengths and know the right moment, you can achieve unimaginable distances. Now imagine how you can apply these lessons from the frog in your life. If he can glide, you can also fly towards your goals and achievements, no matter how big the obstacle. You just need to know when to jump, trust your skills, and the ideal timing. Now, if this ability to plan has already impressed you, you will be even more surprised by an absolutely unique being. The platypus, which can even be mistaken for an alien. But that, of course, is another story. The platypus is, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the greatest proofs that nature loves to play with the limits of logic. A mammal that lays eggs? That sounds strange enough. But wait, there's more. It glows under ultraviolet light, has a duck's bill, a beaver's tail, and otter's paws. The first time a specimen was sent to Europe, scientists thought it was a hoax made from parts of various animals. And who can blame them? Among so many curiosities in the animal kingdom, this one is, at the very least, a chapter in its own right. But its appearance is just the beginning. The platypus has a sixth sense, electroreception. It literally feels the electricity produced by the muscular movements of its prey, even with its eyes closed. That's right, it hunts with its eyes, ears and nostrils closed, relying only on its bioelectric radar. Can you imagine applying this to your daily life? Not exactly feeling electricity, of course, but developing intuition to that level. This ability to sense something in the air, read between the lines, sense when it's time to act, that's it. Nature is always giving us clues, if we know where to look. And as if all that weren't enough, the platypus is also venomous. Yes, a mammal with venomous spurs. The male releases a toxin capable of causing intense pain, not lethal to humans, but strong enough to immobilize. Can you believe it? A cute stuffed animal with venom hidden up its sleeve. It's the epitome of how you can't judge by appearance. And this applies to life, including human relationships. Sometimes the most unusual is also the most dangerous, or the most powerful. The platypus is so different that it almost seems like a design flaw, but in fact, it's one of evolution's greatest masterpieces. A living reminder that being unique is a strength, not a weakness. And that's why it ends this journey with a flourish. But it only seems like the end. Because when we discover this kind of knowledge, what really begins is the desire to go further. Now, let's talk about what unites all these incredible animals, and why you'll never look at nature the same way again. Now tell me, how can you continue to see the world the same way after discovering all this? These animals are more than just strange creatures. They are masters in disguise, full of curiosities that teach us about strategy, adaptation, intelligence, and, above all, uniqueness. What can you learn from a shrimp that punches faster than a bullet? Or a frog that literally comes back from the dead? The right question is not, why does this exist? But rather, what can I take from this for my life? The truth is that most people go through life without ever giving a second thought to the extraordinary things that are right before their eyes. And maybe you have done that until now, but not anymore. From now on, everything changes. So I ask you, what is stopping you from exploring more, questioning more, learning from the unexpected? How many times have you stopped flying because you were afraid to jump, like the gliding frog? Nature doesn't hide its lessons. We've just forgotten how to see. So let's change that. And if you've made it this far, you're already one step ahead of most. But it doesn't stop there. Subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and continue with us on this journey towards knowledge that no one else is telling you. I guarantee, the next video could turn a key that you didn't even know you needed to turn.